And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report today on Easter, March 31st, 2024. And I literally just watched my video from last week, and I nearly got it right. I even called the numbers. So coming in, not surprising, at number one is Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire, with $80 million, which is surprising. Hold on that. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, not shockingly, dropped to number two, dropped 65.1%, which sadly itself is not surprising. Doom Part 2. What did I say last week? Something around 11 million? Dropped to number 3 by 37% for 11.1 million. And what did I say about Kung Fu Panda? Would drop around the 30 area as well. Number 4 spot, 10.2 million. I called around 11 and 10 for both of them. What I did not call was Arthur the King being at number 6. I called it being number 5. Instead, Immaculate rounds out top 5, which around, and I literally just took my glasses off to clean them, with around $3.2 million, which, you know what? Not bad. I don't know. I didn't see the movie, so I couldn't tell you how good the film really is. But what I can tell you is Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, the film right now holds a 55% with the critics. The audience score is much higher. 80 million, 114 internationally. Now, granted, we are on an Easter weekend, so that may play a factor as well. But worldwide, 194. This is significant for multiple reasons. One, the audience is where the dollar vote comes from, obviously. The big vote is with your dollar. But actual one, they were projecting this to be like 55, anywhere between 50 and 60, maybe even 65 on the high end. This shattered that projection. Like, it's one thing to be a little above your high end. Like, the high end was around 60 to 65. If it had come in at, like, say, 68 or 70, it did great. It did even better. So it's great. But 15 plus million more, that's shattering the box office. And then it's worldwide right now is 194. The film is only made on $135 million, which is one of the lowest lowest production budgets we've seen for one of these movies. And now we can talk about the box office, the marketing budget, which is probably at least 100 million. Let's just say 100 for easy numbers. I said it in the review. This film has to hit somewhere in the neighborhood then of, I just rounded up real quick in my head, like 160, not even, like we're like looking at like 350, sorry, 160, 350 to break even, which, look, that's doable. That is a very doable number for a film like this. 350? You kidding me? It's almost at 200 right now. Add on to the fact that this has clearly got a lot of the domestic audience liking it. Let me get the Rotten Tomatoes back up real quick. Where's my Rotten Tomatoes? There are my Rotten Tomatoes. They smell so rotten. How could I not find them? But obviously, it's the verified audience is not purely domestic, obviously, but a lot of people clearly enjoyed the movie. There's Godzilla vs. Kong. Where is the actual audience score? Again, that's where your money's going to come from, is the audience. The critic score is a good barometer for the audience to gauge whether or not they think they'll like it, but that's all it really is. So 93% verified rating. So over 1,000 verified. So 93% of the audience at least liked the movie. So yeah, it's going to have a really good run this month, this coming month of April, because there's nothing major coming out. I had the box office open over here. I always have to keep another tab open just to be safe. What do we got for April coming out right now? We got Monkey Man coming out this week. Not going to challenge it at all for its type of movie. Civil War, I actually don't think so. I mean, it might knock it out of the top spot because it'll be in its third week, but I don't think with Civil War is going to really do much. By the by, I'm actually going to try to see Arcadian that week. I saw the trailer from, like, give me a monster movie any day. Give me a creature feature horror movie, end of the world kind of thing, instead of, a political, oh my God, our political climate, end of the world kind of movie. And then you'll have The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, Abigail, Spy Family Code White. I have no, oh, that's an anime. Let's see here. And then we got anything else? Challengers. And it's not until May. Now, granted, Godzilla x Kong will be at the number one spot by the end of April. No doubt about that. But there is no challenger for the type of movie this is until May. It's going to have a whole month to just rake in that domestic and international box office. And you know what? The answer to why this film did so well, I think, falls into 2 to 3 categories, let's say. One, it's Godzilla. Godzilla has been really making a comeback as of late. Godzilla vs. Kong in the pandemic era was fun. It was something we needed. It was the first fish out. It was the first penguin in the water, and it actually managed to make some money. Despite pandemic and day and date release, it made some money, which is insane. So people liked Godzilla. Then we had Monarch come out, which was a great series from what I'm told. I hadn't gotten to see it myself. Then -1. So Godzilla at the moment, and the Titans and all that, are kind of ruling the world right now. They're really got a good grasp on the pop culture, on the pulse of the pop culture. And people really enjoy it. Sometimes you just want to see a fun monster movie, which brings me to the second point. And I think this is the real key thing. I said it in my review. This is not the best movie of the year. By far, it's not the best movie of the year. There's a lot of plot problems here. The human pathos is like whatever. You're there for the monsters, the kaiju, and all that. I can think of probably at least 3 films this year that are better than this film. As objective as I can be with film being subjective, I can think of at least 3 films: Kung Fu Panda, Dune 2, Beekeeper, that were actually better than this film. But this is probably the most fun I have had all year. All year, no joke. All year, this is probably the most fun I have had all year. And I think that, and when you're talking about entertaining films, it's not just that you need to be a good film. Like, for example, if I were to think of films that are good films, The Whale is a fantastic film. The Whale was an Oscar award-winning film in many ways. But The Whale, from what I understand, it was not that entertaining of a film. I only saw like the last scene because it was online, all that, where he's dying and all that. The Brendan Fraser deserved the Oscar, everything I heard. Like the performances are great, but the film isn't very entertaining. It's like Schindler's List, award-winning film, but how entertained are you actually? How much enjoyment are you getting watching what you're watching? That's the difference between good and entertaining and just entertaining or just good. Dune 2, for example, is good and entertaining. Godzilla vs. Kong isn't really a good film per se, but damn it all if it is not one of the most fun times you'll have in the theater this year, I think. Because it really is the WWE, as a lot of people said, WWE SmackDown of the kaiju films. This is going back to the Showa era where they're pulling out wrestling moves, team-ups, doing wacky shenanigans. And it works. The audience clearly responds to that. We haven't had a lot of fun this year. This is the first true fun movie we've had that a lot of people in the audience seem to agree on. And I think that is going to carry it a long way into April, leading into May, where its actual competition will start to reemerge again. But until then, it's going to be Godzilla's world, man. It's going to be Godzilla's month of April to just own and dominate. And Kong. I mean, I keep saying Godzilla, but Godzilla's name's first. So it's just, I'm a Godzilla fan over more than Kong, but I love Kong. Let me be clear. I love Kong. I just like Godzilla more. So yeah, it's going to be Godzilla and Kong's world, and we're just living in it for a few weeks. So yeah, I can't wait to see what the long term for this is, because I get the feeling if we're seeing, what's the best way to put it? I get the feeling that this could be the highest grossing of the MonsterVerse films, because I think the highest grossing. Ooh, that's a good question. Let's see here. Kong Skull Island. Let's just do Kong, for example. Kong Skull Island. Okay. Because I know Godzilla vs. Kong was like $470 some odd million. $568 million is what Kong Skull Island made. Let's see here. And then Godzilla. Let's see here. Godzilla. The 2014 one, which I believe is the highest grossing of the most recent Godzillas. 220. So actually, Kong Skull Island right now is the highest grossing of this franchise, which means in order for this film to be obviously not be successful, but make them be the highest grossing of it. It needs to make at least 570. That's basically the numbers we're looking at for this film to make it to the #1 spot, the highest grossing films in the franchise. But we'll have to wait and see what the box office really holds, because in a month where there are movies coming out, but nothing that's really going to be taking the spotlight off this film for a few weeks, it's going to be interesting to see what the drop-off's going to be. I'm not saying it's going to be like a 40 or 30% drop-off, but mid to low 50s is not out of the realm of possibility. Films that did take, however, a large drop-off would be Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, making $15.7 million. Not really that surprising. Internationally, $35 million. Worldwide, $108. So the good news is the film is actually only made on like $85 million. And you're looking at a film that's probably got a marketing budget somewhere in that neighborhood, roughly speaking. That said, marketing budget-wise, you're looking at probably 50 to 60 million, give or take. So you're looking at a film probably made on like 150 altogether. And that means this film has to hit somewhere in the neighborhood of like 220. Not the best track record. Unfortunately, when I looked at this last week, the international kind of shows that there's not as big an audience internationally for the Ghostbusters as there is domestically. And the domestic box office clearly isn't helping them out that much. We'll wait and see if maybe there's a big pickup from the international. We'll have to wait and see for that, because right now 108 is not going to cut it, not even close, which sucks. It does suck. I liked Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I would still like to see more from these characters, but unfortunately, if the numbers aren't there, if the audience is just if they're kind of just done with Ghostbusters, then all I can say is thank you for giving me the first movie. I like the second one quite a bit, despite how some people feel about it. It was a valiant effort, but a failed one with 2016's. And then, thank you for giving me Afterlife. Afterlife was fantastic. But we'll see. We'll wait and see. Coming in at number 3, Dune Part 2, $11.1 million. Worldwide right now it stands at $626 million. So, I knew it was going to cross 600. I do not see it, however, crossing the $700 million mark, because that's still $74 million it has to make. And it was already at like 580 something before the weekend box office came in. It makes 11, which means you're looking at a film that made 43 million this week, and 11 of that was domestic. So 32 of that was international. So the international is quickly. So that means maybe next week it makes like 15 million internationally, maybe. Dune 2's run isn't quite done yet, but it's now in its golden years in terms of how much money it's making. It's still going to probably rake in another 20 to 30 million easy, though. If I were to say where it's going to cap off, 650 to 660. That's where I'll say it's going to cap off. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm dead wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'd like to see it at least make a little bit more. In fact, I'll even highball that a little bit. Let's go 660 to 675. That's where I'm going to range it, where it's going to cap off. But look, it made its money. Now, again, if you want to ask why it didn't make $1 billion, well, like some people speculated, all you have to really look to is the fact that, A, it's a sequel. Sequels don't always make the more money than the original, or make as much money. And this one clearly did, but the original had the issue of a pandemic to be dealing with and day-and-date release. 2, dense material. Like, you need to be paying attention. It's very lore heavy, very political. It is a bit of a slow burn in the first movie, so if you didn't see the first movie and now you're trying to watch this, you might be a little lost. And I think really those are the 2 things that really hurt it, ultimately, from making $1 billion. But I say hurt in making $1 billion. It's not hurt in terms of its money. It made its money back. In fact, it made like $100 million profit-wise. It made its money back plus some. It's going to be an award contender for Best Film of the Year. Definitely, it's going to be there. It did its job. It did its job just fine. Kung Fu Panda 4. $10.2 million for a worldwide total right now. 347. Okay. It's climbing. It's climbing. It's now, again, similar to Dune, it does seem to be petering out a little bit in terms of what it's making internationally and domestically. It still made $10 million here, which is great. And if I remember correctly, it was like at 270 or 280 something. So it's got a bit more of a gap than something like Dune does. And it has a wider appeal. So it's still got all of April to really kind of clean up shop because there's no real family fixtures coming out in April this year. Let me just double check April real quick again because I already have this up. Let's see here. Starting April this week, we have Monkey Man, which I will definitely. I don't give a shit about the first Omen, so I will not be there. I'll be at Monkey. That's all I hear in my head whenever I read that title. Monkey Man. I'm a superhero. I'm Monkey Man. that's all. Superheroes don't use force. Like, yes, they do. You're now just giving an excuse to be a slob. And by the way, why did they dress him like Willy Wonka? Did anyone notice that in this? He's dressed like Willy Wonka. I have no idea. But he's even kind of designed, I guess. No, well, as Willy Wonka, he looks a little bit like Gene Wilder. Let's see here. So for Absence Eden, Sting, another whole 2 horror films, one creature feature with Sting and the Nicolas Cage one. I still don't know what the creatures are in the Nicolas Cage one, Arcadian. They seem like some sort of werewolf things, but whatever, that's cool. But again, no family films out to challenge Kung Fu Panda, Abigail, nope. Ministry of Ungentle Warfare, nope. Hard Miles, nope. So what about the final week of April? Anything? No, nothing. No, April is a very blank month for any family-friendly content. So, yeah, Kung Fu Panda is going to have a really good, clean... It's not done with its run yet. Similar to Dune, it's not done. I wouldn't even go so far as to use the term golden years like I did for Dune. I will say, though, it is starting to run out of gas in the tank, though. It's been in theaters now for, I believe, 3 weeks? Is that how many weeks we've had Kung Fu Panda in theaters right now? 4 weeks. Okay, it has been basically a full month's worth of time, more or less. So it has had, this is its 4th week. So it has been in there for 4 weeks, which is generally when you're going to be making the bulk of your money. The bulk of your money is technically made in the first 2 to 3 weeks, but 4 weeks is usually like your big bulk of money. But luckily, when you can get a reprieve like April for a film like this or Godzilla and Kong, that's going to really do you well for ranking in whatever other money you can, especially when, again, there is no other family-friendly content out right now. So Kung Fu Panda is still going to have a lot of... It's already made its money back, by the way. It's made on the least amount for any of the Kung Fu Pandas, around $85 million. Weirdly enough, same budget as Ghostbusters Afterlife, weirdly enough. But yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I take it back. Ghostbusters Afterlife, what I'm talking about, is made on $100 million. I thought it was 85. I was confusing the two. Afterlife's made at $100 million, so that actually makes it even harder for it to make its money back. But think words here. Kung Fu Panda is also made on 85. So, and again, I factor in what I said for Ghostbusters with Kung Fu Panda. So it's probably needs to make around 240 to 270. It's now in the 300 million range. So even if it had to make 300 million, which it did, it's made its money back and it's now making money. So good for Kung Fu Panda. And like I said, even though it's now going to start to be running out of gas in the tank a little bit, it's not even a little bit. It's now going to start running out of gas in the tank to a degree. It's got no competition this month because there's no family-friendly kids films or animated films coming out. Say if you're a slight animated film, or anime film, I should say. Immaculate made $3.6 million, $13.1 million. Let me see here. What is Immaculate rated at? I think it was rated like at 70 something, which is like good for it. It's not my cup of tea. Like I will go see the horror films. I saw The Nun 2. I liked it. I liked the first Nun a little bit better, but I liked it. Where is Immaculate again on this list? It's 71%. All right, cool. What's this Invisible Man film? I'll check that out later. But these low-budget horror films, luckily, can manage to survive like this because they are made on basically nothing budgets. That being said, $13 million still, even for low-budget films, is not usually enough to make its money back. So, take it for what it is. Arthur the King, $2.4 million. Again, another film that just is not going to make its money back. $19.1 million, or 0.7. So basically $20 million. 0.7 million, $20 million. I don't know what the film is made on. I'll find that out at the end of the year when I do the box office report. But it was a perfectly adequate film. That's the problem. There's nothing like, and what's the best way to describe it? There's nothing that insists on you seeing it. It's not, or seeing it repeated times. It's just a nice film. And unfortunately, nice films don't usually make money back. Now, that's not to say it's always the case. Like, there are some films that are just enjoyable films. Like The Free Guy is a very good film, but I didn't feel the need to go see it multiple times in the theaters. I've seen it multiple times since. But The Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds and whether he's the NPC that gains sentience was a good film. It was a nice film, and it made its money back. It did well. So there's definitely precedent where you don't have to be like fantastic or super amazing or fun or epic or anything like that. You can just be an enjoyable film and you can make your money back. But when you're dealing with low budget films with very base concepts like Arthur the King, it does become more difficult. Late Night with the Devil. Hey, it went down, but hey, it made an extra $2.2 million. Good for it. Another film I just don't have any interest in going to see. Toulouse Square and Crew debut with 1.87 and 1.5 respectively. Know nothing about it. Imaginary. Oh man, you've only been in theaters for like 3 weeks or something like that. I know, same amount of time as the Kung Fu Panda has. Now, $35 million. That doesn't mean the film did manage to squeak by and make its money back. But we're now talking. What has happened to Blumhouse this year? Not in general. They're not hurting or anything like that. But what has happened to Blumhouse this year? Where before they were able to like make hundreds of millions of dollars and rake in profit. Now both these films of Night Swim and Imaginary have barely been able to squeak by. So I'm just wondering what happened here. In the Land of Saints and Sinners, which I did see a trailer for that. That doesn't look like a bad film. If I can maybe go out to see it, I will. I've always said it. If I made money on this channel doing what I do, I would be way more inclined to see as many films each week as possible. But I don't. And I only have so much money to go around. So I do have to be pick and choosy with what I see. Cabrini, Manor, 1.1 million. 18.6 million. Good for them. They probably made it on a very low budget. Love Lies Bleeding, 7.5 million. Not much else to say about that. There's really not much else to say about most of the stuff that came out this week, or that's still out. Like Migration is still somehow kicking around out there. Magic and Society, Magical Negras, it didn't do well at the box office at all. The Taste of Thing, most of this all is now just fluff or like the last gasps before they go out of the theaters. Like Bob Marley is very likely going to be out of theaters in the next 2 weeks. It's in the 7th week though. Like Bob Marley's One Love still didn't make its money back, I don't think. I could be wrong. I don't know what the marketing budget on that film was. Regardless, it's been a good week for the movies this week because just with Kong, Ghostbusters, and just with the top 5 alone, that's well over $100 million. Hell, just top 3 alone is well over $100 million. So good for the box office this week. As I said, this coming week, let's actually get the box office up or another tab over real quick to see what the widescreen releases are. And I use wide with quotations because sometimes they don't say things. So they say, wide release this week is Monkey Man and On the Adamant. I think some other film might be coming out in wide release, but in terms of films that will be, at the box office that we'll probably be talking about, it's really just going to be Monkey Man. So, what do I think the box office will look like next week? Well, 100%, it's going to be Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire, again, number 2. Monkey Man is not going to be... Monkey Man might do well. It could be the next John Wick, basically. At least in terms of how well it can do. But I don't see it opening above 40 million because at its lowest drop-off, Godzilla and Kong will probably make 40, like low 40s. But more than likely, we're going to see it in the mid-30 range next week. But I do not see Monkey Man making more than at most 20 million. And that's at most. But I do see it making at least double digits. So I will put Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire, at number 1 next week. I'll put Monkey Man at number 2. Here we go. Now here's the question. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And Ghostbusters dropped 61%, by the way. A, because I think people were good with the one and done. And B, a better film came out. Because I do think Godzilla vs. Kong probably is the overall... It is a better film, I think. And that's saying so. It's a dumb film. And I liked Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, but I do think between the two, I'll see Godzilla and Kong again in a heartbeat. So I probably won't see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire again unless one of my friends wants to see it. But anyway, Godzilla and Kong will be number 1. Monkey Man will be number 2. And after that, though, you're looking at, just who among the second to fourth spot is going to be in the 3, 4, and 5th spot. And that's tough. Because Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I don't think it's going to drop 60-some-odd%. We're looking at probably more like 50-some-odd% next week. Which means you're looking at somewhere in, like, say, the high 6 to low 7 million marker. And then Dune and Kung Fu Panda are also probably going to be dropping in the 30s next week. Which means you're looking at So, yeah, honestly, Ghostbusters, I think, is going to be number 5. I think Ghostbusters is going to be number 5. And between the two of them, it will be Dune at number 3 again. And Kung Fu Panda number 4. What's basically going to happen is Ghostbusters is going to trade its number 2 spot with Monkey Man and drop to the number 5 spot, and Dune and Kung Fu Panda 4 are not going to move. Because what we can see from the drop-offs are Kung Fu Panda is dropping more, barely more, but it's dropping more, but it's also less than Dune right now. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the next week's box office. Godzilla and Kong, Monkey Man, Dune, Kung Fu, and Ghostbusters. That's my prediction next week. What do you think of this week's box office, though? Let me know in the comments below. Do you agree? Why do you think some of the films did the numbers they did, good or bad? And what do you think next week's box office is going to look like? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.